It is often said that health is wealth. And over the last few years, there has been greater emphasis placed on the impact of mental health in today's society. This is another episode of Positive Pulse, and I'm your host, Rashid Holder. And today we'll be speaking with Ryan Lewis, one of the program coordinators from the Barbados Psychiatric Hospital, as he speaks with us and brings more awareness to the events and initiatives that they have focused on during Mental Health Month. Ryan,
Hi.
welcome to Positive Pulse, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Rashid.
This is Mental Health Month, Ryan, and we just want to find out what is the initiatives and programs that you've been focusing on during this month.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on Positive Pulse, and kudos to your team and to the Barbados Psychiatric Hospital. So this year, according to the World Federation for Mental Health Day, it's under the theme mental health, or rather, it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace.
Yeah.
So our activities are geared about bridging communities, enhancing and ensuring that those persons in the workforce, both managers, employers, and employees, understand about mental health awareness and how to support each other in the workforce.
Yeah.
You know, every day we spend most of our 8 hours at work. So, I mean, sometimes when we get back home, it's a balancing act, about striking that balance between personal and professional life.
Yeah.
So sometimes we go through things like loss, persons migrating, illness, and sometimes those things really affect how we function at work.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be seen as incompetent or not able to do what they're obligated to do.
Yeah.
So mental health awareness in the workplace is about supporting that employee and offering things like employee assistance programs, bringing awareness to what mental health is, as it is a human right.
Yeah.
And to also enlighten persons that mental health is you and me.
Now, obviously after COVID, many persons would have obviously felt and seen the effects of mental health, especially within the workplace.
Yes, definitely.
Now, this being the year where you said the focus is on mental health in the workplace, what are some of the things that your organization is seeking to achieve by having these various programs and initiatives?
Well, these programs and initiatives are going to be targeting the workforce in allowing them to understand, like I said, what mental health is, eliminating and eradicating stigma, as well as looking at the different dimensions of wellness. Usually when persons speak about health, we speak about health just about your physical health.
Yeah.
So we want persons to underscore mental health as another dimension, or rather a pathway to health. Because we feel different. How different do you feel, Rashid, when you have money in your pocket as opposed to when you don't?
I would like to say that I feel real good.
Exactly. So that's one of the other dimensions of health, which is financial wellness. We have social wellness, we have spiritual, occupational, emotional wellness.
Yeah.
So this is benchmarked from the 2019 initiative of the Workplace Wellness, being led by Professor Dwayne Devonish.
Yeah.
So we at the Psychiatric Hospital decided to take on the mental and the emotional and the social aspects to mental health, to get persons to understand that these things affect you, and not just see mental health as the absence of disease alone.
Now, you've spoken about the impact obviously within the workforce and the emphasis being placed on that. I want to take it a little step further and let us focus a little more on the impact of mental health in society, especially as it relates to the prevalence of crime and violence, and obviously the impact that it has on societies today.
Well, that's a very good question, and it's a topic that needs to be had more.
Yeah.
For far too long, mental health has been quite taboo, and we need to normalize the conversation surrounding mental health.
Yeah.
So, COVID was a trauma. And from any traumatic experience that anybody goes through, whether it is a car accident, whether it's a loss of a loved one, whether it's a fall, whether it's being newly diagnosed with an illness,
Yeah.
it puts you in a refractory phase where you're psychologically impacted. You start to wonder about your new quality of life. How is that going to affect you personally, professionally? Because you're still a function of society as a mother, a father, a caretaker. Sometimes when you go home and you leave your obligated hours of service, are you able to continue your other roles in life?
Yeah.
Are you able to still be a parent to your child? Are you still being able to be a caretaker to your elderly relative as well? So you still want to be able to go home and live successfully.
Function normally as well.
Take sunsets on the boardwalk after you go to work, after you get home from work, rather than just go home, bathe, eat, and then crash to bed to recycle that monotony
That
of life.
repetitive cycle that most of us find ourselves being in on a day-to-day basis.
Right, so we'll be going into different businesses, encouraging persons to take breaks, take mental health breaks, look at the managing their NCDs, the non-communicable disease.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't realize that mental health is a non-communicable disease. Actually, it's the fifth leading non-communicable disease, and they have some really alarming statistics.
I've actually never linked mental health and non-communicable diseases.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting correlation there that you've pointed out.
Think about it. If I have a mental health or mental illness, if I touch you, you're not going to get it.
No.
It's not transferable, so it's non-communicable.
Yeah.
Right. So that being said, that persons have to understand with these statistics is that at least once, and this is not to scare anybody, this is actually to put persons, inform them and put them ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
At least 1 in 4 or 5 persons would experience a mental health issue, not an illness, but an issue, based on some of the same experiences I spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
Loss of a loved one, migration, sitting an exam, going to an interview.
Various things that we may not even think about on a day-to-day basis.
Just being able to manage your day-to-day life creates stress and burnout.
Yeah.
And these stresses and burnout, if they remain unattended to or ignored, they start to fester and start to build up, and then it can then lead or turn into an illness if left unattended.
Can you tell us about some of the initiatives and programs that you have rolled out during this past month just to bring that awareness to the public?
Sure, definitely. Actually, it predates this month, and so in March 11th of this year, we commenced our Check My Bias Anti-Stigma campaign, and that is about fostering empathy, compassion, and understanding about breaking stigma in society.
Yeah.
When persons can feel comfortable saying that I have a mental health challenge, and knowing that there are resources around the island, both public and private, where that you can attend to. Because we want persons to treat, there's how you go to the polyclinic for the dentist or your regular checkup to go and have a mental health checkup as well.
So mental health checkup being, you can speak with
mental health care provider, it'd be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a mental health nurse, just to talk about your problems, how you're going, because it's not only about curative, it's about preventative.
Yeah.
So you just want to go and chat and make sure, everything is well. I have something coming up. Can you talk me through some points about how should I handle this particular stressor in life and that kind of thing? Then we launched in September 1st, we launched our suicide prevention campaign.
Yeah.
That also in April, we also launched our psychological first aid campaign. We trained 140 persons in psychological first aid across Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Health, and so on. And you will learn 3 basic tools: look, listen, and link. You can see when somebody's in distress.
Yeah.
You can hear sometimes the person's overtones about they're not coping with a particular stressor, and then to link them to a resource. You don't have to treat. You just have to be an ordinary citizen in society and say, well, look, this is a directory. You can choose whichever person you want to go to and pursue care for that particular challenge that you're having.
Now, the events, the initiatives, what is the impact that you're hoping to have by bringing that level of awareness to the general public?
Well, we want to look at having awareness and letting everybody know that mental health, one, is a human right. Mental health is you and me. It doesn't have a face to it. No. Look at that person in the mirror every morning.
It could look like me.
Trying to cope. It could be me too as well.
Yeah.
We try to cope every day with whatever stressor is going on, trying to put food on the table, balance the books, and everything. That is the face of mental health. That is you and me. So we want to bring awareness. We really want to get persons to be more mental health literate in understanding what it is, how to treat it, how to manage it, steps to self-care, about going to the beach, taking breaks, getting rest, eating properly, managing your health on a global scale, and of course a call to action. Once you learn all of these things, that you put them into practice every day.
Now, to bring it home, as you said, this year has been focusing especially on the workplace. And a lot of what you know said, I believe that persons can attest to the fact that burnout, not being able to speak about some of the traumatic experience does impact their day-to-day productivity. So what are some of the words of advice that you would give to, listening employers, employees at this present time in terms of being able to better manage their mental health issues and challenges?
Policy. Have a framework for mental health initiatives. Despite how big or small your corporation is, if you can't have a health and wellness committee that embraces mental health, at least have a mental health champion. To the employers, mental health leadership is critical and pivotal because you have to set the example and the tone for your workplace.
Very true.
You have to champion mental health in the workplace so that your employees and your workforce can feel comfortable coming to you via open door policy and saying, well, yeah, I'm not feeling well. How can you accommodate me for this period of time of my vulnerable situation?
Yeah.
If it could be remote working, if it is finding flexible alternative work arrangements.
Or even in some cases, I know that there have been some companies that have instituted a mental health day where an employee can say, well, I'm not feeling well. They may not necessarily have to say it is a mental challenge that they're having,
right,
but they have the option to take, that day just to attend to those issues that they're having at the time.
Definitely, and that power resides in the employer and the manager. So it's about compassion, it's about empathy and doing what you would want somebody to do for you. So in short, mental health in the workplace, mental health in Barbados, mental health in the community resides on what I love to say, love and humanity for life.
Yeah.
Because it's just about basic human mankind, because mental health is a human right. Just do what you want that you would wish to be expected to you.
So Ryan, this being Mental Health Month, tell us more about the activities and initiatives that you have or your organization has rolled out this month.
Well, this month we have a lot of activities to target both the public internal to the hospital and external to the wider population of Barbados. So on October 6th, we would have commenced our church service. We give thanks and praise for having another year to celebrate Mental Health Month and to support those in need.
Yeah.
And then on October 10th, which we've celebrated World Mental Health Day according to the World Federation for Mental Health Day, under the theme, it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace, we had a title seminar which comprised of great sessions and life stories of persons with lived experience and how they were affected and impacted by having a mental health and how that translated to their ability to operate at work.
Yeah.
And that was very powerful. You can see that recording on YouTube. Then we commenced our workplace lines entitled AWOL. So starting October 11th and continuing every Friday thereafter, we're having a Friday night line where we just are embracing camaraderie and morale among our staff members, and we extend an invitation to the wider public as a means of breaking the stigma. Come and see what is going on there. Nobody's going to harm you or anything. We are livable, lovable persons.
Yeah.
So come and see what is there, and you will have a different understanding about the psychiatric hospital. As well as today, October 20th, the Golden Square is going to transform into a kaleidoscope of colors where we're going to take to the streets from Carlton and A1 Supermarket, Black Rock, and have a 5K walk and run all the way down to Golden Square.
Walking?
Well, as the event promoter, I have to be here. So
you're going to miss out? I'm going to send a representative though?
Yes. So everybody else is going to be on the street. It's going to just 6 amazing colors. And we're going to take from the street and come all the way down to the city where we're going to culminate here at the Golden Square. And then we're going to have our Mental Health in the City concert. So imagine the likes of Blood, Mikey, Nikita, Peter Ram, Marsville.
A host of local entertainment.
All the best of the best local entertainment of Barbados. Going to be here to support the psychiatric hospital and those that have mental health issues to say, you know what? We are here with you and we support you. We're going to continue with our Patients Concert on October 26th this Saturday, and then we're going to culminate and climax with our Staff and Client Sports Day on October 30th.
Which house are you repping?
I'm repping the house that's going to win. So whatever house wins, I'm in that house.
Because I know green is the main color that is associated with Mental Health Month.
Yes, definitely.
So if you're not repping green, then I don't know what other color you might be repping.
Well, the organization is divided into about 4 colors. So what I'm repping in total is mental health. And once I see that there's participation among the staff, the patients, the public, my job has been done.
That sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Your host of activities, it definitely sounds like a fun-filled and, as you said, the type of events that will bring that level of awareness to mental health and the impact that it has on society.
Definitely.
Well, through the programs and initiatives that you're currently doing, or your organization is currently doing, we would definitely wish you success in those endeavors. And we really want to thank you for joining us here today on Positive Pulse, because, as I've said, health is wealth.
Definitely.
And the focus has to be on improving that health so that we can definitely have a wealthy society. This is another episode of Positive Pulse, and I'm your host, Rashid Holder.